Welcome to our Quality Insight LinkedIn Live. So we're broadcasting on Facebook, LinkedIn, and on YouTube. Welcome to all those that are jumping on with us live, and also to those that are going to be watching the video later on. We really hope you get something out of it. Like always, Paul and I are excited by a lot of things, but we're really excited by this platform that we're developing and launching today. I just will remind everyone, this is a platform that will start in effect from the 1st of September. So we're joined on screen by Paul Murphy, co-founder of Quality Insight, and we've got Rob for Onyx. Rob's our business partner in the digital media campaign, but also in a lot of other ways. So welcome, Paul and Rob. This is the first time you guys have been on the, well, Paul, you've been a contributor to live stream, but Rob, this is your first time on, so welcome.
That's correct.
So what we're going to do this afternoon, hopefully we're not going to take up a lot of time. I know there's some really busy people there. We're going to launch to Connect the Dots. So what Connect the Dots is a digital platform that's designed to generate leads and also qualify those leads and push them out to residential aged care providers. Paul and I have met with quite a few providers over the last 2 years. We've also spoken to dozens of homes, and even more clients in the background. So clients being your residents and resident representatives. And one of the biggest thing we found that the entry to aged care is, as we know, it's quite an awkward time for some people. It's highly emotional. It can be complex and confusing. So Paul and I set about thinking through what does that problem look like for the provider, and of course what the resident and resident representative. And we came to the landing that we actually needed to build a platform to aid providers in channeling the right resident through to them. So we know through the last couple of months we've had staffing pressures. We've had a bit of a talent gap also in terms of people who can actually manage the journey of coming into care and talking about entry, etc. And also qualifying those first initial leads that are coming through the door. That can be quite time consuming. And now we've got funding challenges coming up in October where those potential additional funds that could be utilised in marketing and or bringing on that admissions person to qualified leads may not necessarily be there. So what I'm going to go through this afternoon, I don't want to bore you to death with a PowerPoint presentation, but it's important to keep this conversation on track, to go through a couple of highlights on this lead generation platform. As always, please send through any comments or questions you may have. Paul will be diligently looking for those comments. We've got Rob also to help as an expert in answering some questions as well. Welcome to our little launch. So the first thing that we've got there really is a question for your team. Like, do we have a problem with lead generation in this business? And we do. We've got providers that do struggle with occupancy. They struggle with the right occupancy. It's not necessarily to say they don't have the team or the skill, but there's just quite a big hill to climb sometimes when you're down a considerable number of beds. You need to act in almost a ramp up mode, and you need to bring in a nice tranche of leads coming through. Now, we know from our experience in the market that you'll get a fair amount of your leads from referral agents, and that's great, but they don't necessarily hit the target markets that you're looking for. Well, I also know that web-based or digital-based campaigns should produce about 25% of your leads coming through your business. If you currently don't do any digital marketing or it's not effective, you're potentially missing out on a quarter of the amount of leads that you could be bringing through. And that could be the difference between being in the high 70s or 80% and being in the 90% of occupancy. So we have an algorithm that looks to target those residents coming that are in the community. Rob will go through a series with me on what that looks like, but we target those consumers sitting there looking for care. And then our team will sit there and qualify that lead as it comes through. It also gives the provider the opportunity to really look at their marketing spend. So a lot of us will look at a branding campaign versus a lead generation campaign. And quite often those two get mixed up and they are quite distinctively different from each other in terms of how they should be pushed to the community. Your marketing reputation or your reputation for clinical care is the highest priority, and it should be one that you really build your brand around. So we give the opportunity for the provider to be able to separate those things nicely. how this is going to work. So, Rob, I'll bring you into a little bit of this, but basically our algorithm, Rob, is looking at generating 3 to 5 leads per subscribed provider, and it is a subscription base for the portal. Rob, we're looking to get 800 to 900 leads or views of our website. How does that conversion to the target number of leads work?
So basically the conversion, obviously, it's driven through having the right best practices in the website, right? We need to make sure, number one, that starting from scratch, we're hitting as granular as possible, the right audience targeting, all right? Then we need to make sure we're basically driving them through the funnel, brand awareness, consideration, conversion. And once we can convert them through any of the channels and they come into the website, they need to have a clear customer journey. So it's very important to highlight that for this industry, we might have two cases. We might have urgent cases where people are looking for a place ASAP, or someone's that are researching. The important thing is that the portal or the website that is hosting this just have a clear go-to-market and customer journey for them to engage in what is the best solution for them. So we've ran through some SEM campaigns really heavily and see that sometimes the clicks to website is really high, but if the right best practice is not put in the website, basically there's going to be a massive bounce rate, and all that budget you're spending in digital marketing will basically be wasted because there's no conversion. The other important thing is one of the drastic changes or most important variables in this process is how to qualify a lead, and that's where basically Connect the Dots brings all the expertise. Through digital marketing, you can get to an algorithm that will bring a certain amount of deals or leads to the as an inquiry. The important thing is how are we going to qualify them and the time of response.
Yeah, so excellent.
Sorry,
mate. You go.
All good. Just saying that basically we're going to target Adelaide, Brisbane, Melbourne, and Sydney for this phase 1, and yeah, the campaign is already set there.
Yeah, beautiful. And it's to me, there's a lot of people that know me. I find sales to be basically simple maths, and the more leads that we bring through, the higher opportunity for conversion. But in this game, we all know that if we don't get the right lead coming through the channel, you can be wasting a fair bit of time. It could be a prospective resident that may not suit your bed requirement that's vacant. It may not even suit the environment that you're created in your home. And that's okay, because we have different homes that cater to different needs. And that's what we need to make sure that the market is aware of. The other thing that it's really important to emphasize is we're targeting 800 to 900 views of the Connect the Dots website to generate 180 to 200 unique leads, because we're targeting 60 providers to be on the portal to begin with. And that, of course, we want to see grow. So as the number of homes grow on the portal, those number of unique visits to our website need to increase, and thus will increase the marketing spend. So when it comes to how we're going to generate those leads, we're going to invest into digital marketing strategies to begin with, and then we'll expand as we go from there, specifically targeting the algorithm of that unique resident or resident representative that we want to bring through the chain. And as Rob said, our team will then qualify that lead and disperse that lead through to the right provider that's part of the subscription base. There's a couple other things that we're really proud of, both Paul and I, on this. And again, we're proud parents to a lot of different things in our business, but this one particularly so. So we're on the back of, this should be all about resident choice and provider opportunity for choice. So not only have we built the website to cater for the free placement assist, as we call it, which is the algorithm that we just discussed with Rob, we also have a database that the resident can select directly themselves. This will be a user pay system for them. They will have the full scope of every vacancy that's available to them, and we'll be using the bed search platform, which has up-to-date information on vacancies as you possibly can get. So that gives someone full choice. You don't have to jump onto our website and be pushed onto a subscribed facility. You have the choice of picking any facility that's on our bed search database, which is all of them. The third option that the resident or resident representative can do is pick up the full service placement. So that's basically your white glove bed placement service, which we already offered under another brand, Total Aged Care Solutions. So they have the opportunity to be funneled through to that if they choose. So we're all about giving that resident and resident representative full choice, and also not pigeonholing the provider by choice either. They've got the opportunity to have a good view of that lead coming to them, and then select which lead is appropriate for them based on the report that we give them. Just the small resident journey map, if you like, as Rob said. So that's just as important as the portal. So I'm going to jump on to what the actual portal looks like itself. So bear with me, because I actually lose visibility on everybody when I go through this. So what you should see there in front of you is the portal itself. So as you can see, we've just jumped in. The portal is now asking us to connect us to care, and can we start here? And this is the first screen that they come up. So we'll talk the prospective resident representative through what the conversation starts to look like. And this is the data or the narrative that's there right now. They'll go to continue, and this is where we pick up what the situation is. So who's the name of the person seeking care? What are some of the specific soft touch details that we need to know immediately, so that we can orchestrate a conversation with the client as we go through. We then need to know a little bit about who's made that call. So that's important to us, so that we know who to reach out to, what's the best time to do it, and get their permissions to be able to make these calls and then pass these leads on. And then, of course, that form is submitted. So they'll get a confirmation to say, yes, you've got that. I want to have a look at some more resources, and then it takes them on to the rest of the site. What we intend to do with the site is to have a heap of relevant and quite timely information on how to enter care. So these will include visuals, videos, and some fact sheets that they could take away with them. So I'm just going to pop out of this bit, and hopefully I'll return back to everyone nice and sound. That's basically the auspice of what we're looking for, or what we're trying to do with Connect the Dots. When we look at what does a provider have to do to jump on board with us here, is basically reach out to us and let us know that you're interested, and we'll take you through a more in-depth view on how it works, particularly for your home. We are going to be very strong in the metro areas. When it comes to some of the regional areas, so metro, I'm talking southeast Queensland, but as we're heading up the coast to more regional, remote Queensland, obviously the digital tapering will happen. New South Wales will be quite strong in metro Sydney, Canberra, a little bit up the north coast, but again, as we move towards the northern rivers, it will taper off. Victoria, quite strong around Melbourne metro, and all the surrounding areas, but as we go sort of more into the countryside, again, they'll taper off, and Adelaide will be strictly Adelaide. There'll be very limited viewing outside of that. The final piece on this is we're looking for the first 60 homes to join us on the subscription based. Once we've hit those first 60 homes, we'll then revert back to a retail rate. So the monthly subscription will be $475 per home on the special rate for the first 60. Once we get above that, the retail rate is $810 a month for the subscription. We don't lock people in for enormous amounts of time, because this portal needs to prove its worth. But at $475, getting 3 to 5 substantial leads coming through your portal, I'm sure you'd agree that that money is well worth spent, particularly when you're looking at the digital targeting that we do, and the type of qualification that we take place. So when you think about what you're spending that money on, that's what you're spending it on. It's the marketing campaigning, it's the qualification, and then it's over to your team to convert that resident through into an admitted process. We will do slight clinical assessments, but nothing more than making sure they've got an ACAT, or assessing if they've got a need, or they've been asked for a need for a secured unit or not. Paul, Rob, have I missed anything from your guys' point of view?
No, I guess my view from the face of it, looking at it from a placement point of view and dealing directly with the consumers, is that from the view of the consumer, this is going to be a information overload website. There's going to be all the information there, which inevitably will lead them to asking and reaching out to us to link them up with providers. But we're not hiding anything about the aged care process or the transition to care, and we're really pushing hard to make sure that that freedom and freedom of choice for all the consumers is pretty much the message of the whole website.
Yeah, lovely. And Rob, in terms of the marketing spend, I mean, we're locking ourselves in for a considerable monthly spend here. We're going to have a monthly review, and that's what we intend to do with the homes and the providers that are joining us as well.
Sorry, I had a cough.
That's all right, mate.
I guess the most important thing in here is that we'll be avoiding a bidding war between age group. So the cost will go down in marketing, basically. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay, mate. The intention is that we will be having reviews with marketing teams and key stakeholders within the group, just to make sure that these programs are up on point and they're producing the results that we're needing. Also, that feedback loop, because we intend to survey those residents that we are forwarding on to providers to get that feedback loop of how quickly they've been contacted and what sort of success of entry is going on, so that we can check that we're actually providing the right service to those providers as well. Gentlemen, it's been great. We are very excited about this. I believe it's a platform that doesn't have that admissions tag to it. We certainly would never like to see that ever come down the funnel. In fact, Paul and I have done some figures on that, and if we were to look at having to pay for every admission in this business at that $3,000 price tag, you're looking at $270 million coming out of the sector. So we certainly need help in generating leads, and we believe that this platform will provide that help, but we don't need to be locked into exorbitant fees around admissions-based generation. So thank you to everyone that's joined us. If you'd like to see more, get in contact with Paul or myself, either via LinkedIn or via the contact details through Quality Insights. We, of course, would love to come out and meet with anyone that wants to talk through this process. Thanks again, guys, and have a good evening.